So being hated on the internet is very easy nowadays, and you can be hated for a variety of reasons. Having different political beliefs, different opinions, a different identity, being cringe. For some reason recently, if your location is based anywhere in close proximity to India on...
Yeah, I mean, we've caused a few rage baits here and there on Twitter because of this.
Being way too negative, being way too positive.
I'm f***ing the dog. I'm f***ing the dog.
What? Not standing by your beliefs and being a so-called grifter.
Never touch the stuff. That was a lie.
That was
being
a lie,
bald,
chat.
having too much money, not having enough money, saying Viva Pinata wasn't the pinnacle in gaming, and that person definitely
I had a friend that was obsessed with Viva Pinata, and she had it on the Wii.
deserves it, and some just hate for the love of the game.
She would
So
never
it's
not
safe
play
to say it's very easy to be hated on the internet nowadays, sometimes simply just for existing. But when it comes to having a presence or influence on an online platform, it's even easier to be hated, primarily because you are putting yourself essentially on a pedestal to be judged by everyone else on the same platform. And even if you haven't done anything remotely wrong, some people will justify hating you just from the way you look to simply the tone of your voice. But today we're going to be talking about someone that recently has been
if you sound different or look different, people will automatically perceive you in a more negative way. It just depends on the scale of 1 to 10 how bad it is. That's why, like, you can't really argue with human psychology, it just is what it is.
I am talking about the YouTuber, streamer, and business owner, Ludwig. Now, the hate levels are nowhere near people like Pirate Software or recently Mizkif. Those two are really hard to beat at this point. Pokimane, okay, maybe on the same levels as Pokimane, but at this point I think sometimes she's doing things just to make people mad for shits and giggles. And not to brag, but my prediction...
I think this was both ironic and unironic. She has that kind of money to spend on an engagement ring. She just decided to farm it for content, for attention, too.
Was right 8 months ago in that previous video. No need to thank me at all. But as said recently, Ludwig has been receiving a lot of flack online. And today I wanted to look into why that is and the situations that have led to all the shit being flung at him. And gauge whether in these situations he does deserve the criticism he faces.
This is a hard watch, bro.
But, as always, first we need to know who Ludwig is.
My name's Market.
Hi, could I order 2 large pizzas with a side of pussy?
Sorry, what?
Pussy.
What?
So before Ludwig was a popular YouTuber, streamer, and apparently an entrepreneur when it came to selling bidets, and someone that in the present day is described as charismatic, innovative, and always pushing the boundaries of content, with a haircut that has not changed for about a decade, although very impressive hairline. What is that, a 1 on the Norwood scale at the age of 30? Very good genetics.
Impressive.
But over a decade ago, he was none of this. No, that doesn't mean he got a hair transplant. No, before Ludwig was the charismatic streamer we all know as today, his initial start on the internet was a far cry from what he would later be. Because his start on the internet from what was public was in 2011, when he was around the age of 16, making Call of Duty commentary videos under the name...
Everybody starts with Black Ops or COD, man. That's every guy's, like, origin story, I swear.
Zany sidekick, which was just him talking about random topics or the gameplay in general.
What I want to talk about today is trash talking and how to deal with trash talkers.
The name of the channel probably stemming from how he called his viewers heroes and claiming he was essentially the sidekick because his viewers do all the work by supporting him.
That you guys are heroes, you know? All the viewers make up this community and make it what it is. All the commentators, you may think they're amazing. I'm not going to name any because there's so many. But they're nothing without you guys. They're just sidekicks.
Aww, 16 years old, a little introspective, humble. Yeah, we can appreciate that. We can appreciate it.
Farming those parasocial viewers early, were we, Ludwig?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, early on. It's a good way to do it.
Content on this channel has been unlisted and only 3 videos are present to this day. But Ludwig at this time hadn't gone through his tournament arc and his 2 veteran tours of subathons, which was essentially his viewers treating him like a monkey in a cage for months on end. Yeah, he wasn't that person yet, but this was a start. But in his next online venture following soon after, you definitely could see a glimpse of the Ludwig yet to come, and that venture was with Vine. Now Vine, for all you semen cells, was the Homo habilis before TikTok, and was the first significant—
I like that Instagram is on top here. Dude, oh man, oh jeez. Yeah, for if you know, you know.
checkpoint for short-form content that would later inspire many other platforms that may or may not be shortening the attention span of humanity as a whole.
This is actually a real statistic. Our attention span has gone down by at least 2 seconds since like 2012. There's like a paper out there. I remember Aswin covered it. It's fascinating. Yep.
And it's also where a lot of influencers you may know today got their start. Originally, content on Vine had a max length of 6 seconds, meaning you had to essentially cram the entire plot or point of your video into a short time frame, and it had to actually make sense or have the desired effect. Some people were very talented when it came to this, and a lot of classics came from this platform.
Oh my god, I love this meme. 21. Oh my god, his grills are fucked up. Look at the teeth, man. He looks like a Goomba.
Classics came from this platform.
I'm gonna blow up. I'm gonna blow up and act like I don't know about it.
All Those Chickens, the girl with sunglasses, the old woman dancing to guacamole, and who could forget Yeet? Vine would reach its peak in 2013, where in the same year an 18-year-old Ludwig, who was now a senior in high school, would start uploading to the platform, harnessing his inner theatre kid. And also apparently his inner band kid.
Yeah, he definitely is a theater kid. Yeah.
Whatever the fuck this is.
How to have an orgasm in less than 6 seconds.
Now from this content, more than his call of
Dies of cringe. Millennials.
Duty commentary days, you can sort of see that entertaining personality coming through, even if it is just a little glimmer. But in the same year of 2013, he would graduate high school and from there attend Arizona State University. He would continue to make vines whilst in college, but that would eventually end, not because the platform would eventually close down and many of the top creators would carry their followings to different platforms, but because Ludwig was unfortunately not one of the top creators, quite often only getting 100 views and a handful of likes at times, so he would give up. Truly the Christopher Waltz of his time, an undiscovered gem if you will. But yes, sometime after starting college, he would stop making vines. But obviously, he wasn't done with the internet just yet. Because alongside the zany sidekick in 2011, he had made another channel. A channel we would all be familiar with today, a channel called Ludwig. But from what we can see, he would only start uploading to that channel in 2015, with his first uploads being an interest of his, which was Super Smash Bros. Melee tournaments, later having an interest in both playing in them and commentating for them. And from there, over the years, he would slowly make a name for himself in the Super Smash tournament scene. But before any of that, he would take a slight detour in 2016, where once again Ludwig would bring that inner theatre kid back out, by joining a newly established stand-up improv group called Tempe Late Night, or as it's known today, Tempe Underground, and would perform on stage and in sketches.
Sex is like potatoes, I'm in the middle of the famine.
This gives me like chills to high school and being forced to like do speeches in front of people.
Personally speculating this may have had a hand at either influencing or at least amplifying characteristics like his confidence, which we would later see from him down the road. But after almost 2 years of service, Ludwig would stop taking part, seemingly due to graduating in 2017, with a degree in English literature and journalism. But what didn't stop after graduation was his love for Smash, travelling around the country to take part in various tournaments. At this time, he was both honing his Smash and commentary commentary skills whilst also expanding his network, getting to know popular players and being somewhat known within the community. But Ludwig would eventually have to start working. He couldn't just attend weekly tournaments, as that wouldn't pay for things like food and rent, and most definitely not the student loans he probably had to pay back.
How do we finesse this guy to get jobs at NBC?
Yeah, we're both writers. We need jobs.
Guys,
he works
chat,
with
please tell us how to finesse this guy to get a job. What do we do?
Ludwig would apply to around 300 jobs and not hear back from most of them.
Average millennial experience, by the way. It's even worse now, but you know.
One did reply, and that was
like
in LA.
Jobs.
You know, the city that looks like a Dark Souls boss room with how much smog is present. So he packed up his life into a rented car and moved from Arizona to California. His new job title was the editor for the Wine and Spirits magazine, and upon starting that job, his life would change from there. Ludwig would go on to impress the managers with his marketing skills and how much traffic he was diverting to the magazine, and was quickly promoted through the company. He was eventually just under the VP of said company, while simultaneously founding other companies and revolutionizing them. I'm completely fucking with you, by the way. He got fired after 6 weeks because, in his own words, he incorrectly identified a major funder of the magazine in a photo caption and they wanted his head.
Okay, second bat, never mind.
And thus started Ludwig's very own training montage of unemployment. He worked at Best Buy, moved on to Snapchat, where he apparently got fired for taking free Baby Bell cheese from the break room that nobody was apparently eating, and he started taking some home with him, which in my opinion is fair play. He was probably barely getting by at this point, and that was just free food. And supposedly it was for staff, but nobody was touching it, so I don't see the problem with him taking it.
That's criminal.
And apparently he was fired for that, and apparently watching movies at work. But in later interviews he would change that and say he was fired because they were spending money haphazardly. And for some reason on one episode of a podcast under zero pressure goes on to talk about having a wank in the office toilets.
I'm in the bathroom, Snapchat headquarters pojoing, and a janitor walks in.
Why are you... Okay, hold on. That's psychopathic. Look, I'm not shaming gooning, but like at work, that's criminal. That's actually criminal.
While I'm doing this,
No.
I don't know it's a janitor at the time, but I stopped jerking off.
Right.
And I didn't lock the door because nobody's in there, so I hobble and I lock and I go back down. And I'm like, I'll just wait.
And he worked for a vaping company.
Who the fuck wanks at work? You're at work, man. Like, how do you even get into the mood, bro? Like, what? Jeez. That's crass. Yeah, not locked in the toilet at work. Like, that's 3 strikes.
As a marketing lead and had a great idea.
You want to get walked in on, you weirdo?
Involving phase banks, but the company didn't like it because their product had so many flaws and they were not ready for a market of that size. So he would also eventually be fired from that job, but before he was fired, he was studying streamers and content creators because he saw an opportunity for marketing in that area, and because he had also taken up streaming himself in his spare time, inspired by his friend Slime, who he met through Smash. And he would occasionally co-host his podcast on Twitch, and obviously he had previous experience commentating over the streamed Smash events. In 2018, he would stream no matter how many viewers he had, and even if nobody was watching, he would act like there was 10,000 people present, even if nobody was typing in chat. Eventually,
that's what you have to do, by the way. That's how I did it. You just had to talk. I mean, granted, I still didn't talk that much because I was scared, but it was a good desensitization activity. Yeah, I'd play this dog shit game called DBD for like 5 hours a day after work. Yep.
Would build up a following, some coming from the Smash Melee community, but with his blunt rotation of jobs, sometimes he couldn't stream that often. In 2019, at the vape company, he would come do his 8 hours whilst also studying streamers, and then he would go home and stream for about 4 hours, and then rinse and repeat each day. He had built his following to the point where he was making around $2,500 a month from streaming.
That's a lot.
But that was not enough because once again...
it's not enough, but it's a lot for streamers to make that. That's a really good... big little bonus if you have a job. This is a good side hustle. $2,500 is an insane amount of money for streaming.
LA is not just known for its smog, it's also known for how expensive it is just to exist there. So Ludwig still needed a job he would lose in February of 2019.
Me too.
You see, Ludwig thought if he had just 10,000 in his savings, he could go full-time and give streaming a shot. And he already had a sizable audience if he kept going.
I saved a good amount of money before I quit my job. Just in case I failed. I wanted to have enough to, like, maybe sustain myself for, like, 2-3 months. Yeah.
With this momentum, he could get even bigger. But around when he was fired, he only had 7,000 in his savings, not 10,000. Meaning he had not made the goal to give streaming a good shot. So he took a gamble, where he would start his stream and tell a little fib saying he had left his job to do streaming full time.
I have left my job, and I will now be streaming full time on twitch.tv/Ludwig Ogren.
And that gamble definitely paid off. After starting streaming in May of 2018 and deciding to do it full time only a year later, he would become one of Twitch's fastest growing creators.
If you started early enough, like 2016 to 2018, and you had like a decent personality and you were relatively entertaining, it was big time for you. Yeah, 2019 average viewers 171 is insane. Just for the record, I know you can't see it, but this number in 2019 is crazy. That's like triple that now if you had to think about it. Like if your inflation is real.
Beginning going from a handful of average viewers to a year later going to over 3,000 average viewers.
Viral.
And not only were his streams exploding, his YouTube channel was also seeing a lot of attention. And it's easy to say either down to natural talent or skills he had picked up from stand-up or the...
Yeah, COVID, the COVID buff was real too, but I'm saying like between 2016 and 2018 before COVID was also really big.
Melee community, each stream he brought enough energy and charisma to keep people entertained, and people genuinely liked to watch him. And now that he was able to focus on content creation full time, he was able to enjoy the fruits of his labor and grow even more. And in the years to come, he wouldn't stop growing. He was a part of events, he networked with popular streamers, he met his now girlfriend through streaming, he broke the Twitch subscriber record with his first uncapped subathon in 2021. Where the more people supported the stream, the longer he streamed, eating, sleeping, and showering on stream. And in the same year, he received an offer of 20 million or more to move to YouTube streaming.
20 million?
The more people supported the stream, the longer he streamed, eating, sleeping, and showering on stream. And in the same year, he received an offer of 20 million or...
Oh my god, I heard that right. 20 million? What the fuck?
More to move to YouTube streaming full time instead of Twitch. And he would accept said deal apparently due to him not feeling valued by Twitch. But he also continued to innovate, not only in his spare time.
Twitch treats streamers pretty much like a little... They don't treat them like as people, it's more like you're a mascot to them. Yeah.
And would he do his homework, studying what to stream, what was popular at the time, and what his next move would be. He would host game shows with fellow streamers, including a chess boxing event, his own Super Smash Melee event. He did his second subathon, trapped in a glass box for 50 hours. He co-founded a company called Off-Brand, which was an agency that helped with creating events for creators. And Off-Brand Games, which created games. A company called Swipe, which offered cheaper bidets. He made multiple successful YouTube channels, and even became a co-owner of an esports team with Moist Critical. So not only could...
Well, that didn't make any money. They both knew they were not going to make money off of that. Sports teams don't really make money. It's more of a like a write-off if I had to wager a guess.
Ludwig entertained people, he could also successfully branch out into completely different businesses. A lot of his success stems from that one gamble, and from that decision continuously innovating and studying the landscape so he could continue to entertain. And the success is definitely deserved. Once again, he went from averaging a handful of viewers to tens of thousands just 2 years later. In the current day, Ludwig has returned to Twitch, but streams simultaneously on YouTube. He's been a lot more open from talking about his revenue to...
Holy crap, what? Revenue $1 million. Twitch versus YouTube. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this a while ago. Hours watched 20. Oh my god. 1.2. He thinks he can make $1.2 million in 2025. Oh my god.
Briefly talking about retirement multiple times. His streaming hours have decreased compared to his peak, but he's still pretty active when it comes to streaming, YouTube, his projects, and...
Why don't you dual stream? I've said this 1,000,001 times. I'll say it for 1,000,002nd time. I can't react on YouTube live streams. I can't. I've said it 1,000,000 times. That's why Asmund doesn't do it. He goes to Kick.
Connecting with his community. It doesn't seem like he's done with his online adventure just yet.
I don't dual stream to Kick because of personal reasons. I don't know. It's a lot of work, and to top it off, I don't really agree with a lot of what Kick does. We'll see. I don't know. I might change my mind, but for right now, right this minute, I have too much on my plate. Yeah.
An adventure he started over a decade ago. So after hearing all of that, why has Ludwig recently been seeing an increase in hate?
That is dangerous. That's not good. That's not good. That's dangerous.
Let's up those numbers!
Oh no, the mango
So for at least
incident.
the last 2 years, as said, Ludwig has been receiving an increase in hate. With names such as Jellywig or the more creative, he would be the type of person in a zombie apocalypse to hide his bite, which is quite a creative way to criticize someone. That's hats off to you. But this increase in hate recently, from what I've seen, is down to essentially at one point being a terrible influence and or a terrible friend and not initially taking...
I do think it's ridiculous that he did this. Like, him and Mango have been friends for years. Like, you could honestly argue if they didn't know each other, like he just didn't know about his alcoholism or his like alcohol problem. The fact that they were like good friends and you just threw him under the bus and did this to him was like, I don't know, man. That really put like a lot of things into perspective for me about him.
Accountability for his involvement in that situation, and the claim he has no spine, hence the name Jellywig, and the claim he is just a people pleaser going for the safest takes possible to overall minimize the amount of criticism he would receive, but at the same time would receive the benefits of having a take on a situation. And if that doesn't pan out for him, he will, for better words, flop to the other side or take a more neutral stance.
Yeah, the Kaya thing. I'm sure he'll bring it up. We're only, what, 15 minutes in?
That's basically what the majority of people against Ludwig are claiming, and the criticism against him just this year alone has probably quadrupled. If you got in on the Ludwig hating stock early, you would have probably been reaping profits right now. Probably greater than any CSGO trader these past few months. But the
oh yeah, everybody waking up overnight and their stonks and guns and skins got ruined.
Criticism and hate is primarily down to a few situations that have happened this year, and a few that started some years ago. And going through said situations before I get to the main points where most of the criticism came from, I need to first go through the side quests, if you will, and it's not in chronological order, so fuck you, nerd. Midway through 2024, he got criticised for hosting a speedrunning charity event, but he received criticism because apparently there wasn't enough diversity. There was no women and it was just mainly dudes, and
do I have to fucking say it? Please, for the love of God. I don't want to... No.
some people that weren't actually speed.
No, I'm not gonna... Say it. It's because women aren't that good at video games compared to men. Whoa. I've said it 1,000,000 times. Also, Smash and fighting games is such a niche interest. It is! It is! It is a very niche interest. I think I only know 2 people out of like 1,000,000 guys that love fighting games. Zentreya and Lily Pichu. They both play Tekken and a couple of other fighting games. I'm sorry. It's just statistically true. What?
speedrunners. I mean, possible controversy.
Speedrunners, there's very few women speedrunners.
She'll take
Yeah, that's a niche within a niche. I'm not even talking, I should have prefaced this. I'm talking about the generalization overall of like, oh, competitive women. Yes, women can compete, it's just really hard.
But it's a charity event, not something like a competitive scene. The attention shouldn't really be on the players, but instead on the charity.
I know,
not
like
the
2
individual
female speedrunners.
people
Yeah,
present.
I know,
And he
it's
responds to
insane.
it by saying he just invited friends and content creators he knew for the event.
I'm sure he knows a lot of girls. You know for a fact that there's a lot of girls that would jump at the opportunity. But if you're not a speedrunner, why the fuck would he invite you?
I don't think it was as deep
Sorry.
as he purposely didn't
I
invite
barely
women
know
or
any
actual
fucking female
speedrunners, and yeah,
speedrunners.
if he
Like
did, I
1
guess
or
people
2?
would feel more included and it would give more attention to lesser known
Not including the
speedrunners.
Monster
But once
Hunter
again,
one
the
that cheated.
primary target was to raise money for charity. Another is with
that's
the
good.
Atrioc situation, where one of his friends Atrioc alt-tabbed on stream and you could see a paid access website that was known to have NSFW AI.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about this.
Deepfakes of streamers, and apparently on said website QT Cinderella was present, which is Ludwig's girlfriend, and many other female streamers, and some he was in contact with.
Why would you have this open while you're streaming? I feel like I would be so paranoid. It's like having porn up while you're streaming. Are you stupid? You're so dumb. Like, go goon after you're done streaming. Like, what are you doing?
People called him out for it. QT, who was also friends with Atrioc, responded, obviously very upset about the situation, even if the tab didn't have content of her on it. He went on stream with his significant other addressing the situation.
Oh my god. I remember this too. His girlfriend's like fucking crying.
And apologizing for it. He would claim in said apology he didn't know who was on the website, he was just clicking out of morbid curiosity.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but why would you have it up on your screen and like while you're streaming? I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't click on a porn one. I just wouldn't. It's too dangerous, especially when you do like a stream where if you tab around you can see windows.
And after this, he would take
I
somewhat
don't
of
think
a
he
break
did it
from content
intentionally.
creation. And when
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard to say, obviously I'm not a fucking thought policer, but I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. He knew. You guys think so? Maybe.
When he returned, he revealed he had been investing and getting in contact with lawyers and companies to assist in getting the websites and this type of content taken down. And over the course of 2 years since it's happened, he has tried to redeem himself, and his reputation has somewhat recovered, obviously not fully. It's not easy to come back from that if you ever can. But Ludwig mainly got flack for associating with him again, later bringing him back into his content, and apparently forgiving him, with the common critique.
Oh, come on. I don't think they should have like bent him over like this that badly and like humiliated him live on stream. I feel like that's so fucking far. Like, yeah, okay, he's a gooner and he had brought it up while he's streaming. I just think that there's so many worse things you can do. Yeah, and also the guy that freaking Ludwig forgave him. I feel like it's their business.
Being why would he forgive someone that was looking at deepfakes of his girlfriend? But to specify, there was no evidence that he looked at pictures of QT, just that it was on the same website that did have them. But QT later supposedly forgave him, and going forward he is still putting effort into removing said content off the internet. Realistically, it was mainly QT's, Ludwig's and the other streamers affected's decision to forgive him, and a lot of them have moved on from the situation. But some still hold the opinion Ludwig was fine with him specifically looking at stuff to do with his girlfriend, which wasn't proven with evidence. There was the Mizkif situation. No, that Mizkif situation. We are talking about the Mizkif alleged SA cover-up story of 2022, which Ludwig covered on his Mogul mail channel in a video titled Twitch is Collapsing, which he would later take down. To quickly summarize, there was a discussion regarding gambling on Twitch, after a situation with a streamer lying about struggling to other streamers asking for money and using said money for gambling, and there was a discussion with streamers on Twitter about gambling on platforms, and Mizkif was supposedly mentioned, then chimes in, and an argument ensues. Then the streamer Trainwreck throws out the accusations of him covering up the sexual assault of another streamer by one of his friends, by saying that Mizkif apparently sent people to the victim's house to talk to them, and that was where the allegations of him covering up SA came.
This was 2022, 3 years ago, man.
From. But despite sexual assault allegations being thrown out that Mizkif's friend did something to another streamer, more people focused on Mizkif's alleged involvement with it, and this obviously would affect his career significantly going forward, later saying it was the one accusation and event that ruined both his career and life. Ludwig did a video about the situation basically going against Mizkif, and in Mizkif's own words, Ludwig defamed him.
It's just wild he said this, because it's like, he basically was just like, yeah, I just defamed the fuck is. Yeah, I just pretty much fucked his life up pretty hard here, with a 98% like ratio. I don't know why that part was mentioned, the 98% like ratio.
Years later, a case against Mizkif from the victim regarding things like slander and
I mean, considering everything that we know about Mizkif now,
defamation was dismissed. And Mizkif took this as this was him being proven innocent for the claims made against him.
Yeah.
Ludwig was one of the main creators cited and blamed for some of the damage to Mizkif's career, of which later Ludwig would apologize.
Well, now we know that he actually is doing it to himself. Like, let's be real.
And said this was one of the reasons he stopped doing drama videos on Mogul Mail, because sometimes he didn't do enough research and the whole situation was debunked, and he did try to repair his relationship with Mizkif.
All right. And I made a video about it that was like incredibly damaging. It was just not at all based in fact. These videos have no research to them. These videos are aggregates of what is available to see online. I met with Miz in Texas. I apologized to him to, like, you know, repair the fuck up that I made. But the reality is, like, you know, it's Pandora's box to an extent. I think I did the best that I could.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Again, I know Jellywig has a reputation now and everything about that. With how Mizkif behaves around people and how he manipulates them, I do think Ludwig tried. I do.
By apologizing,
it's
correcting,
just that Mizkif is way worse in a way.
You know,
video that he made, and we all know it's true, is the video is not a correction video. The title of the video should have been "I Lied," and the video could have been about my entire thing. Instead, the video was smudged in between Rich Campbell getting accused of and Jay Schlatt leaving the org.
But Ludwig wouldn't receive hate for long after admitting he was wrong with that video, since, you know, the whole Emeru situation was like a week later. But on to one of the main controversies. One of the bigger hits to Ludwig's reputation was with the Mango situation, where he...
Yeah, this was what, like, kind of just... It was like the final nail in the coffin. Even after all the, like, fakeness, the alleged, like, oh... You know, the Mizkif drama, even though at the time we didn't know anything really about Mizkif and he was just like a popular streamer, this kind of just nailed it for me.
Was hosting an event called Mario Kart that was streamed live, where they would play Mario Kart whilst drinking alcohol, and he invited his friend Mango, who is a legend in the Super Smash Bros. Melee community, and apparently was a known heavy drinker. And then what proceeds to happen at the event is Mango gets progressively drunk, and Ludwig is basically cheering him on, and he gets more and more plastered. Even at one point they get a breathalyzer out and rejoice at the fact he hit a new personal best on it, with the great catchphrase, "Let's up those numbers."
Yeah, let's up those numbers.
That is dangerous. That's not good. That's not good. That's dangerous.
Let's up those numbers!
Mango then continues.
Yeah, I just couldn't, man. And then you throw him under the bus like that. Oh my gosh. Like, I understand the reasoning behind saying, like, oh yeah, he's his own person, he's an adult, but like you're actually actively encouraging him. You're not any better than that. Like, you could have told him to stop. You could have not invited him in the first place. Like, if you know he's an alcoholic and he has a problem, don't invite him. Be like, sorry dude, like, I don't think this is a good idea. He's the host. It's not like he's a, you know, just some guy that like can't stop him. Like, he's literally the host. You could have thrown him out.
Continues to get more and more drunk with nobody stopping him, and then gets caught on camera basically doing weird stuff like humping things around female streamers.
See, we're not drunk, guys. Yeah, we're not drunk. But Mango, on the other hand, no. He's humping toes. No.
They did apparently cut his alcohol an hour before the event ended, but the damage was
Guys, he already did like 20 lines of coke. We stopped him from drinking. We stopped him from smoking more weed on top of that. Oh, jeez, we did so much better. Oh, guys,
already done. And after the event, Manga rightfully faced a lot of backlash, losing a lot of sponsors and being dropped from organizations like...
And not excusing his behavior. He shouldn't have fucking done that, and he was inebriated as fuck. He could have tried to stop himself, but... Like, when you're an addict and you are put in that kind of situation and, like, things like that happen and nobody's there to stop you, I don't know, man. I think it's just, like, you're partially responsible.
Cloud9. And Ludwig would also respond sometime later saying Mango will no longer be invited to his events going forward.
You know, shouldn't have invited him in the first place, and then you could have kept inviting him.
Reached out to anyone who I felt might have felt uncomfortable and talked to them. But also, and I already told Mango this, I'm no longer inviting Mango to Mogul Moo's event. Because, like, you know, it's a privilege to go to an event.
And he does take some accountability for his actions, specifically celebrating the breathalyzer results.
Main goal at any event is that the people who are participating have a good time. Like, that is like number one, the most important factor which determines a good event. People who show up have a good time. That's what I care about. And I dropped the ball yesterday. I mean, to be real, I dropped the ball. And that's like ultimately my fault, right? That's on me. That's my event. That's my job to do that. So I also personally apologize. I look back, it's very cringy now, but I was like applauding like him getting new PBs with his blood alcohol, which is like, you know, super poor taste, especially on hindsight. Obviously, that wasn't.
Shouldn't have invited the known drunkard to a fucking drinking event and encouraged it. It's such a bad look. I do think it's more Ludwig's fault than fucking Mango's. Yeah.
The intention is like similar to when we did the Doug challenge with alcohol, where we're getting new PBs on the breathalyzers. It definitely looks way different on hindsight.
But then later on says he feels no guilt for what happened with Mango.
I feel zero guilt. I don't feel guilty at all. I think this is his own actions because he's
What? Oh my god. What? Dude, I've been to like restaurants where people are like, hey, I'm an alcoholic, don't give me alcohol. I understand that, like, you know, there's people out there that have a hard time controlling themselves, but you know him, you invited him. Yeah, he could have said no, but like, you're exposing him to that, man. Mango killed Mango. Oh my god.
His own man, he's an adult man. And me banning him.
They don't know anything about like people with like addiction problems and issues with like things.
Like is the only thing that I did in response, because I think it was the correct thing to do. I'm not gonna lie, I am surprised though. I am surprised he got dropped from C9.
But people would start to criticize Ludwig for one, enabling him and encouraging him to continue drinking, and that he didn't do anything in the moment regarding him doing weird stuff to other people. And two, he
should have stopped him when he. This, by the way, the breathalyzer thing was before the humping the pillow thing. Like, you didn't think that was, like, enough? Like, oh, yeah, he's drinking a lot.
Criticized for, after all of this, supposedly turning his back on his friend and apparently kicking him to the cab, with the claim he wasn't taking full accountability for his own actions, which I assume is from the guilt comment, and there was a claim he was blaming a lot of this on Mango, with people thinking he had some involvement with encouraging him to drink more. And three, he was criticized for apparently knowing beforehand Mango had a problem with alcohol, and still invited him to said event. With the last point, he does address that, saying he had invited him to similar events twice before, and there was no problem problem.
Abuse problems participate. Again, Mango's...
if you think there's a risk to you, like, think about it from a business perspective. Even if you break it down into, like, this event is going to make me money, why would you take on the risk of bringing someone that has an alcohol problem? Why? No, like, if you break it down and you even remove the factor, it's like, oh, well, he's my friend, I want to invite him so bad. It's like, why would you risk bringing a friend that might cause you this much of PR problems and lose you money? Like, if you really care about money that much, why did you do it?
Participated in 2 other beer card events. This ain't the first one. Like,
this ain't the first one.
Like, I have a...
Well, maybe he had more self-control then. You don't know what the addict or the alcoholic is feeling like a year or 2 ago. That's the problem with alcoholism and, like, relapsing, is that sometimes you're in a good headspace and you know to stop and not do it and not drink. And then there's another where it's like, oh, well, I'm having a bad year in my life. Like, this, I'm just gonna go, man. I'm gonna go ham.
Gonna go off. So I think what you're saying is true, but like, I've done it twice with no problem. So there's no reason I should think there'd be a problem the 3rd time. And I personally, like, am not like speculating.
This is,
I've asked him in the past
for sure.
If he's alcoholic, like, straight up, and he always says no. Now, like, I think ultimately you just gotta. I've been taking him at his word. That's his own.
But then people would point to the moment where he describes him as like an alcoholic in the moment.
I've been practicing drinking beer for a week.
Okay, Mango is like an alcoholic. Mango can drink 30 beers and act the same he does off no beers.
That's no filter. He's drinking himself, isn't he? Yeah, that's him being honest.
He's a machine of a man.
He said he had 7 beers already today.
Another criticism was regarding Mango's blood alcohol level, which was getting dangerously close to points where some thought he might die, but it is clarified at the event that the breathalyzers possibly were not accurate since he was consuming alcohol, then using the breathalyzer straight away.
The breathalyzers are not accurate. If you just had a bunch of alcohol, it spikes it way up.
Ultimately, with this situation, a lot of the blame falls on Mango.
Maybe.
He is a grown adult that apparently had a pattern of behavior like this before, but Ludwig wasn't helping the situation, and straight after the event, Mango expressed remorse and later said he's getting help for his problem. Ludwig would later respond to the people covering the drama and criticizing him, saying they don't really care and that he understands it makes money, which, yep, you could point to the fact that Ludwig had a whole channel doing the same thing.
And I actually genuinely have no ill will towards any drama channel who makes videos. Like, I think it is a hustle. It is a career that they have made. They speak on any drama for 20 minutes and they move on. I think the actual care about the things they talk about factor is very small, but like, that's fine. You know, it's like, it's a hustle. But I understand drama pays the bills quite well.
And he goes on to say he is still friends with Mango, and Mango didn't want him to talk on the drama as he was going to take it on the chin.
And I have some thoughts and opinions that I thought about speaking, but he asked of me to not speak on it. And I think that's a fair request. He said, I want to take it on the chin. He's spending time with his kid.
He then goes on to say if people hate him, he can't really change that. And regarding accountability, he said his piece on that.
I felt I had. I think a lot of people want me to take accountability. I think I said my piece on it.
But if you go back, you literally said I don't. You go back and you said you didn't do anything. I did everything right.
And I think if people don't fuck with me, that's totally chill. And if anyone in here don't fuck with me, I think that's totally chill. I actually don't mind that.
At this point, Ludwig was still being criticized with claims he didn't take full accountability for his involvement. Some thought he wasn't taking it seriously and was mainly blaming Mango with claims of throwing him under the bus. And that Ludwig is a snake, mainly using the clip of him saying he's not inviting him anymore and that he feels no guilt. But Ludwig would talk about the situation again, clarifying his comments, his regrets, and apologizing again.
Ultimately, had very embarrassing clips in moments, and on hindsight, it looks really bad. And I apologize for it, and I've apologized for it. Bummed out how he's handling.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that mixing alcohol with streamers, especially ones that, well, actually, I would say like all IRL streamers are very, how do I put this? Like very attention seeking and they can't help themselves. So like combining that with alcohol, I think that always can lead to like massive problems. I already don't like drinking with people, to be completely honest, because it just makes people say and do things that they normally wouldn't do. And sometimes like it ends up badly. So with streamers, it's like an extra compounding effect, in my opinion, and you're live streaming it, so it's not like private, you know? Like if something bad happens, it's not in between all of like these people that it happened to talk it out and like figure it out and like see what happens and talk to people. It's like live streamed so everybody sees it and it's over. Like you can't explain yourself away.
Current situation. I don't actually really understand how I can handle it better. I honestly think the biggest mistake I made is I said, if someone asked me if I feel guilty and I said no. And I think that was my biggest mistake, was saying that. And
that's just so bad. Like, I don't know how he didn't think that wasn't a bad idea.
I regret saying that. And I was thinking, do I feel guilty about banning? But I feel guilty about the situation happening. I think that was honestly like my biggest fuck up.
And that
Camilla and Vito Drunk's trays are awesome though. I'm saying multiple streamers, like more than I would say like 3 or 4. And even then, it's like being inebriated can make you accidentally say things that you shouldn't have said. Like that's just how alcohol works, you know? Like even I've watched Pippa live streams where she does drunk karaoke. Like I don't know if I could ever do that because I feel like I would just blurt out a slur and get banned. It's dangerous to your career. Why would you ever like risk it? I feel like I couldn't. Like I don't know.
That's basically it. Was Ludwig a good friend when the situation was happening?
Private,
probably not.
Fine.
Did he enable Mango to keep drinking? Yes, you could say that. Did he deal with the overall situation well? No. Was his initial response that great? No, and he was criticised for it, but his last response was received quite well. But people still criticised Ludwig for inviting Mango to the event in general, claiming he knew beforehand he was struggling with alcohol. But apart from that, people moved on, but it is still occasionally used against him. And it would
I just think it shows his character. I don't know. If a friend did that to me, I would just be pissed.
Basically set the stage for the next situation because the hate for him was very prominent around this time. So some would say Ludwig doesn't really have any controversial takes. Normally he shares the opinions most people have. Some would say
yeah, this is what he gets criticized a lot by like different streamers that like do commentary, where they say that he tries to read the room first and then he says what like people think they want to hear, and when it's not something that they actually want to hear, he kind of crumbles and falls. That's his biggest, like that's a big character flaw, and it shows that he's like not really who he is. He's two-faced.
He has mostly safe takes, but then came the name that follows him round to this day, Jellywig. The name apparently referring to Ludwig having no spine due to what I just mentioned, and when he receives significant criticism for a take, he will apparently change his stance or apologise. And looking at it, the origins of this go back to the start of 2024, where Ludwig was doing his usual mogul mail videos before he apparently hated doing them. And Hassan, who I don't think needs an introduction at this point, I think even those that do not subscribe to politics know who Hassan is, but Ludwig would make a video discussing a clip that went viral that was taken out of context, of Hassan saying something along the lines of streaming is harder than a 9 to 5 or more mentally draining, which the majority of the internet disagrees with, but once again the clip was taken out of context and he continues to say there are certain 9 to 5 jobs less socially draining than streaming.
A real job can be gruesome. A real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
I completely disagree. I think that fucking streaming, to me, when I'm done streaming, I don't want to talk to anybody for like at least an hour. Then I'm good. Like, I'm fine. Like, yippee, yippee-ki-yay. When I worked a 9 to 5, I'm so ball drained. I was so ball drained after every 9 to 5. Like, it's nothing in comparison. Like, yeah, obviously streaming can be stressful. I can have a moment where I'm like put on the spot. It's public speaking to an extent because you have to like, you know, formulate words on the fly and think about what to say and not say certain things. But you have to be on the spot and it's mentally draining. It absolutely can be because you're doing this for 4 to 5 hours, maybe even longer than that. Some people do it for even longer, but it's not as ball draining as a 9 to 5. I thought this was such a fucking stupid take. And I remember actually ripping him apart for it. And there was a subreddit of some sort that fucking, they freaked out at me for fucking shitting on Hassan for this. Do you guys remember that? It was like 2 years ago.
are obviously real jobs out there that are good comparisons. Service sector, people-pleasing jobs would be...
Oh my god, are you seriously comparing... I'm literally about to go off into the same fucking rant that I did a long time ago, man. Service sector is not the same as fucking streaming.
Very similar.
What?
Those are
good comparisons for a job that might drain your social battery. For context,
like, I think customer service type shit.
No, because you can ban people. You can ban people off of your Twitch stream. Yeah, if they're saying something fucking retarded or they call you a slur on your stream, you can just ban them. If a customer calls you a slur, you might lose your fucking job. That's the problem. Like, he just doesn't get it. I don't think this guy's ever worked a job. Yeah, you ever been called a slur at work? Yeah, I have, by a customer. Yeah, what am I gonna do? Like, oh, sorry, ma'am, can I keep helping you? Even though I'm literally about to fucking say a slur back and I can't because I'm gonna lose my job? Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, you can't ban a customer.
If you're an accountant, or if you're... Even like in sales, my interactions with clients was limited, way more limited than like constantly having to do this for 9 hours with like a back and forth interaction for 9 hours. That's what like sucks your social battery, and you just tap out after it.
Ludwig would talk about this.
I understand the tapping out part. Like I said, I need like at least 45 minutes to an hour where I don't talk to anybody on the phone or in person. I literally can't. Like, if my parents call me right after stream, I'm like a zombie. So I get it, because you're yapping for 45 hours. That is totally true, but I still think I would not go back to a 9 to 5 if I could help it. It's soul crushing. Like, it drains your balls, genuinely.
Mogul male and even have
him.
Hassan in the thumbnail. Ludwig would make a little joke towards Hassan saying no, streaming is not harder than your 9 to 5.
Myself for almost 6 years now on how hard it really is. I'm kidding.
That was the joke. But Hassan gets 4 minutes into video, sees the joke, thinks Ludwig is being critical of him and farming him for content, and gets annoyed.
This is what I mean. Like, I thought Ludwig's take was fine. I watched the video and then he just crumbled. Like, he literally just, boom, dead. Bam, bada bing, bada boom. Went back on it.
Yeah, it's like no different than what Muda did. He showed the context, though. It doesn't fucking matter that he showed the context.
It doesn't matter. It showed the context. It's already too late.
Context. It's just a way to just literally farm off the fucking drama. Whatever. Fuck it. Who gives a shit?
He's so salty.
A bunch of people go to Ludwig's live stream and tell him to apologize or call Hassan.
People don't like my opinions too sometimes. This wasn't even that bad of like a... This wasn't even that of a controversial kind of thing to have an opinion on. Oh my goodness. People have fucking reamed me out. Like, recently. You guys know? Fucking the VTuber shit? Oh my god. Like, I feel like that's way worse of a criticism than I had.
Ludwig, for some reason, freaks out a little. I think because at the time they were friends, or because there was a
No, they still are.
lot of people spamming his chat. And then he proceeds to change the thumbnail of the YouTube video to take Hassan out of it, making the thumbnail less attractive, and then eventually deletes the whole video.
Call Hassan and apologize? Why is Hassan mad? What did I do?
My God.
What'd I do? Because I'm a mogul male? I feel like everything I said was fine. Am I crazy? Farmed for...
Oh my god, he's actually panicking. Do you hear that?
Views? Oh, well, I mean, that's the deal. I'll just pull him out of the thumbnail, and then I feel like it doesn't really matter much, right? I can just pull him out. I feel like that's... Because I feel like outside the thumbnail, you can't really make that argument much.
He creates a re-upload of that video, basically saying he deleted the previous video because it was sponsored and the video wasn't getting good views, probably because he changed the thumbnail to something akin to a stock photo. And in the new video, he adds more context to the Hassan clip, but apart from that, I don't think he needed to take the video.
I don't think what he said was bad. Oh my lord.
Down,
like you
it was a little joke, not even
him.
like a 10-minute roast session. But obviously, on the re-upload, he got a lot of shit. People basically called him a pussy and said he cares way too much about what Hassan thinks. Thus, the spineless accusations were made, which then evolved into Jellywig, and it would follow him for a while, even to this day, with a different situation Collargate. Now, Collargate is basically the accusation that Hassan shot his dog on stream, and there's probably no doubt you have seen some of the memes that came from it.
W.
Now, there are two sides to this, the M14 gang and the Olympia gang, if you will. There was the group saying his dog was shocked by a shock collar, and then there was the other side saying it was not a shock collar, it was a vibrate collar. I personally love the memes that came from this.
Shock my dog, I can't stop. Yeah. Shock.
But still to this day, the argument is still ongoing regarding if it is a shock collar or not. You've had people saying he's covering the prongs, and they found the specific model which is a shock collar, and Hassan didn't help himself, showing weird angles of the collar with tape on it, which apparently was to cover his address or phone number. You had XQC, or the debunker, being the primary investigator for this case. I don't know what fucking timeline we are in where that happened.
You know it's bad when XQC is labeled a detective.
But it did, and obviously you had every other streamer and YouTuber giving their take on it, and it got to the point where the meme evolved to things like Ludwig has a shock collar on because of what happened previously with Hassan, but Ludwig would actually comment on the situation saying it was a shock collar, and the people critical of—
I know! I was so surprised when he came out and said that. I was like, damn, did Ludwig turn a new leaf? And then I was completely wrong, chat. I was so wrong.
Ludwig claimed he figuratively took his own shock collar off.
Do I think Hassan shocks his dog? I have no clue. I think he lied about having a shock collar. I think he 100% had a shock collar based off what's on my For You page. Maybe I'm getting psyoped. He's adamant that he hasn't shocked her, but that 100% is a shock collar, as a fact.
And he even went on to address the claims from over a year ago that Hassan controls him and that he isn't even friends with Hassan anymore.
And I think when you come in and you say, oh no, you're gonna get on a song call now, I think like you are like genuinely pathetic. Like you are still—
Well, I mean, you know, you could not be friends with Hassan, but your girlfriend sure is, because she invited him to the fucking streamer awards.
Pretending to live in a universe where it is like brave to speak out against Hassan, as if that is not like the popular side to be on. Truly, I think it's pathetic. Again, 18 months ago, I had dealt with people who now thought that, hey, Hassan messaged me, he made the boss call, I had to take down the video. That's not what happened. You can believe me or not believe me, I really don't care, but I swear on my mother's life, who I love more dearly than any human on this earth, that Hassan has never asked me to take down a video, and I did not do that because he asked me to. I'm also—
But he might have been scared. See what I'm saying? Like, he might have been scared. He might have not directly told him, but his reaction when he was doing the whole live stream, and then he's like, what did Hassan take? Oh God. Oh, what did he? Oh no. Oh no. Like, I don't think he asked him. I think he got scared. That's what I think. If he's genuinely swearing on his mom's life, and I hope that he actually does love his mother, and he's being genuine and he's not just lying through his teeth, I think he might be telling the truth about Hassan not contacting him, but he changed it because he got scared. Like, he didn't want to, like, you know, get into bullshit with him and get zapped.
Not even friends with Hassan. Legitimately, I'm not. He's not someone that I invite to like my birthday or things like that. He's someone I've done streams with, and I think they were fun. He's a streamer friend. When I retire, I will never speak to 95% of the streamers I collab with again. Hassan is part of that group. That's
true. Yeah, I remember I said this too. I said that I actually believe that he probably wouldn't even talk to them, because streamer friends are not the same as like friends that you'd invite or talk to in real life. Yeah, he's a collab guy. He collabs with like everybody.
It's a fact.
And a lot of people against Ludwig seem to somewhat flip
a
lot
he's an
on
LA
the
streamer,
shock collar side, and for a short amount of time he wasn't Jellywig anymore. But he did get a lot of hate from the opposite side, who were saying it's a vibrating collar, and people would tie this criticism to his following stream, where he basically goes back on his take and says it's a vibrating collar.
Oh, and then I had to react to this, and I was like, God damn it, man. Like, we were so close, Jellywig. Jellywig, you did so good, and then you ripped my heart out, King. God, we took one step forward, and we took 2 steps back.
And he was wrong because he saw pictures off stream, which I don't think he clarifies which pictures he saw.
Maybe
that changed
Cutie
his
told
mind.
him, yeah.
After my stream, I got close-up pictures of the shock collar on my mother's life.
What the fuck? Why does he bring
I
his
didn't see
mom
prongs.
again?
I'm pretty sure it's a vibrate collar.
I'm pretty sure? What do you mean I'm pretty sure? You would bet pretty sure on your mother's life? Bro, if, like, I love my mom and my dad so fucking much. Like, I understand if you hate your parents. I get it. Like, some people are, you know, they have unfortunate circumstances. But, like, I love my mom. I wouldn't bet my mom's life on a fucking pretty sure. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, yeah, you're either sure or you're not sure. Like, what are we talking about? I wouldn't do that. Like, oh my gosh.
So maybe I should have said
mind.
99% sure instead of 100.
And thus people went back to calling him Jellywig, but he does clarify he is still not friends with Hassan or defending him.
All this for Hassan, I do not rock with him. This is not me defending him in any way, shape, or form. I just saw some shit, and I'm not trying to lie on somebody's name.
Oh my gosh.
I do not care outside of that.
Oh, Lord.
But I saw it!
He then goes on to criticize XQC, saying he had talked to him in person, and XQC says he really doesn't care about the dog, he's just fanning the flames of the drama.
XQC is probably the single biggest person who is driving the Collargate drama on Twitch, right?
Doesn't bring up Asmund. Asmund was kind of like the biggest one in my opinion. I think XQC was the second.
You know what XQC says to me at TwitchCon? He goes, I don't give a fuck if he abuses the dog. I don't give a fuck if he's a shock collar. He calls himself, when he's investigating what's happening, the debunker. He has an alter ego called the debunker. I think he finds genuine joy in flaming the drama. He's a chaotic, evil human. And seeing whatever smolders remain after he's done with his mess.
An XQC would claim he's basically lying. What he did say was if he did shock the dog, it's not the end of the world and it's not like he killed anyone. And it basically turns into he said, she said at that point. For this situation, it doesn't help that Ludwig went on stream claiming something 100% happened and he was adamant, then in his next stream goes on to say what he said wasn't true, and then adds the XQC part, which, in my opinion, it would have made more sense to include that in your first take, because at that point people would view it as you don't really have a dog in the fight. But with the way he did it, it looks like when he switched sides, he also went on the offensive to criticize one of Hassan's biggest critics, which even if it was true that he said that, it still looks bad, and he ended up getting flack from both sides because of this. I just don't know why he would get involved in something he wasn't 100% sure on, only to go back on it. But yeah, overall, it didn't make him look the best and just added to the Jellywig accusations.
Shock my dog, I can't stop. Yeah.
Shock.
So now, to the most important question, does Ludwig deserve the criticism, or as I said, the shit that is flung at him constantly? Well, I think with situations like with the manga situation, he definitely deserved that criticism, but obviously I think he was partially to blame, manga was primarily to blame. With the other situations I mentioned, he claims he was wrong about Mizkif, but seriously affected his career, and he claims himself it was his own fault for not doing research, and it was also one of the reasons why he doesn't do Mogul Mail anymore. But in his own words, he does deserve the criticism because he supposedly got something wrong. With the Atrioc situation, ultimately it was up to them to forgive him and start associating with him again. With the charity event, it was a charity event, the focus should have been on that. I don't think he had to even respond to the hate he received from that. And with the jellywigging, to be honest, most of that is him shooting himself in the foot for sometimes no reason, and he puts himself in that situation. So yeah, I think in some situations he does deserve that criticism and the shit thrown at him, but to give it to Ludwig, he is very open about being criticized. Yes, he has made some comments about people covering situations.
He's just gonna keep making money and keep moving forward. It's just how his audience is. He's very audience captured, kind of like less so than Cutie, but kind of like also like Cutie, because Cutie took a stand in that drama with those two other chicks. And that was insane because she actually stood her ground and then she backpedaled on it. And I was like, damn, like she's just like her boyfriend. Like she's just bending because like she saw that people were upset with her and she apologized and had tears and snot running down her face, man.
But majority of the time he does tank that criticism, and in my opinion, sometimes it does seem like it does affect him, like where he talks about getting hate for years for that Hassan video. And yeah, this year alone it has become increasingly easy to dunk on Ludwig, and he is basically an easy target nowadays, especially compared to previous years. But compared to other people, he mostly just takes it. He doesn't lash out normally when people critique him. Yeah, he might not agree with what people say about him, he might change his stances every now and again, but I think with all the flack he gets, he usually deals with it pretty well. He's usually calm and collected when he responds. And in retrospect, his overall reputation is still intact. People still love his content, especially his YouTube. And his journey to the top of these platforms is a respectable one, and nobody can take that away from him. But yeah, that's why some people hate Ludwig. Yeah.
I don't hate him.
Schlatt stopped uploading, Pepe said. But yeah, that's all I had to say,
He's
and
busy.
bye-bye.
I don't hate Ludwig. I just think he's shown his true character, and I wouldn't trust him to do collabs or anything like that in terms of streaming or revealing information. I wouldn't trust him. Cutie's a cloud goblin. I think that being an LA streamer is very much like akin to being a massive cloud goblin. Streamer in general, I should say. Not just exclusively to LA. Yeah. Go check out Mr. Royalty is here. Also, that comment right at the end of the fucking video. I swear to God, whenever I click on your channel, you're watching Ludwig. Obsessed. You are such a fucking retard. You don't even follow me, by the way. So that means that you consciously click on my channel without being, like, prompted with a follow. And the last time you were here was 2 months ago. I haven't watched a Ludwig video in probably, like, 2 months to a month. Maybe come to stream more often, you fucking clown. Shut up. No one cares. Dumbass. Stupid ass. Bitch. Yeah, he's a tourist. We didn't even ban him. We just deleted his comment because he's stupid.